Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Break Blogging. Now, we're going to continue on our overall theme here, the last couple episodes, where we're talking about video. In episode 100, we talked about building up your YouTube channel. Now, from there, we went directly into how to make good-looking videos that look and sound good. And we talked about that in the last episode, episode 101. Today, we're going to return back to YouTube. And we're specifically going to talk about YouTube annotations, what they are and how we can actually use them. Now, here's the thing about YouTube. YouTube has a lot of different tools at our disposal. And it's one of those things that we can easily just upload a video and then walk away. And it's tempting, actually, to do that because all these other things take a lot of time. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get nearly as much results from YouTube if you just simply upload your video, slap a title on there, and walk. It's not going to just do it all by itself. You got to put some tools in place to get the most bang from it. And yes, I'm talking to myself here too, because I tend to be the lazy type when it comes to YouTube. Annotations and stuff like that, it's not in my nature to go and do stuff like that. Now, I have a way of doing that, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But this is just one of those best practices that if you want to get the most promotional value out of your YouTube videos, you should be using YouTube annotations. That's just the way that it is, okay? So first of all, what is an annotation? What the hell is this thing? Well, really all it is that you take your video and you're adding hotspots to it. That's what you're doing. Now, these hotspots could be something like a little piece of text that pops up on a little bubble over top of your video, that type of thing. But the most useful thing that we're going to be using it for is to have hotspots that are actually clickable. Now, think about it from a marketing standpoint. This is what makes the YouTube video actually drive traffic to things that matter, or where you can provide a call to action on a YouTube video. It goes a lot deeper than just saying on the video, saying, hey, go to blah, blah, blah.com. Most people are probably not going to do that. Some will, most won't, because people are lazy. If you just put that on the video with the text and you make it clickable, so if they actually click on the video, it goes to blah, blah, blah.com, that is going to be a lot more effective, right? Well, that's what I mean by putting a hotspot over top the video. Then you can make it clickable. Now, what does it click into? Well, built in, YouTube has certain things that you're allowed to make that thing clickable to. One of them is another video. Obviously, that serves YouTube's purpose, right? Because they would love for you to just stay on YouTube.com all day. So one of the things that you can do is make it so that if they click on that hotspot, it goes to another video on your YouTube channel. That's pretty simple, all right? Next one is to go to your channel itself. So, if you say, go visit my YouTube channel, you can actually put a hotspot over top that video at that point that will click right to the main homepage of your channel on YouTube. Now, directly related to that is that you can also give them a link which directly allows them to subscribe to your YouTube channel. Now, you've seen YouTube videos do this left and right. And it's actually one of the best practices is that at the end of one of your videos, you remind the viewer to subscribe to your YouTube channel if they want more. Pretty simple stuff, right? Well, you can actually give them a link on top of that video, which goes right, it just subscribes to them. It's like, there it is. It's a direct link to subscribe to the channel. So that's another thing that you can do with these hotspots. Another thing that you might want to do, and it's one of the options, that you can link it to your Google Plus profile. Okay, if that's something that you want to do, you can do that. Or if you're a business and you've got a Google Plus page for your business, you can direct them over there. So, for example, if you are actually, using your Google Plus profile for lots of discussion, maybe you're using that as the basis of a community, you could direct them over to that page. Now, here's the most valuable one that you're probably going to want to use, and that is to link to an associated website, okay? In other words, your blog. Now, the associated website is Google's way of ensuring that there is some ownership over the stuff that you link to. So this is not something where you're going to throw affiliate links and stuff in there and link out to weird places, because that could be a potential user experience problem for people who are on YouTube. So what you do is you set up a linkage, and I'm not going to get into the technicals on this, but it's pretty easy to do. You're just showing Google that you indeed own that property, and then you can actually send people to your blog. Even though it's off-site, they're leaving youtube.com, you can actually take them there by clicking on that annotation. So those are some really useful things that you can make these hotspots linkable to. Now, setting these things up is actually really easy. On every YouTube video on your channel, you're going to have a link there that just says annotations. Click on that, and what you're going to do is you're going to see the video, and then right underneath that, you're going to see a timeline. And it looks similar to a video editor timeline, actually. And then what you do is a video will start playing, and you can set annotations that have a certain start point and an end point on that timeline. So let's say that you wanted an annotation to only show up on top of your video between 10 seconds and 20 seconds. Well, you could easily do that. You just go to that point on your timeline, you would pause the video so it doesn't keep on going at 10 seconds, and then you would just set up whatever type of annotation that you want, and you would drag it until it disappears at the 20-second mark. Very simple stuff. So you could put stuff on your screen, and you can have it only there for a little bit of time and then go away. So therefore, you can see how we could have multiple annotations throughout your video, depending on what URLs you're talking about or what have you. Now, what are we going to use these annotations for? Like, what are the real world usages of these annotations? Well, let me give you a few ideas. One of them is to simply link out to squeeze pages or even content upgrades. Now, this is a very effective way to use your YouTube videos to build your email list. Now, in past episodes of Coffee Break Blogging, we did talk about the idea of the content upgrade as a very effective way to build your list. All it is giving some type of a downloadable bonus, some type of a lead magnet, but specific to that content. So think about it. If you create a really high quality video or a how-to video, let's say you're giving a tutorial on a video on how to do something, and then you say, by the way, if you'd like the exact checklist on how to get this done, go over to blah-blah-blah.com and download that right away. And you can actually put a hotspot right over top that video, clear as day, that goes and allows them to download that thing. And of course, via an email opt-in. That's a content upgrade off a YouTube video. That's going to be a very, very effective way to build your list. And that's the most specific, but you could back up and make it a little bit more general by sending them to squeeze pages. So you could mention various lead magnets that you have, and you could do that on the video, and then if they click on that, they go to a squeeze page and you can build your list, okay? So very effective way to do that. Now, the big thing here is that you'll need to make sure that any squeeze page or content upgrade that you're delivering is on your main domain name, because that's going to be your associated website, okay? But that's probably going to be the way that it is anyway, so you're totally fine, okay? Now, another way that you can use these annotations is to link out to related blog posts. This is a way to turn your YouTube profile into a traffic generator for your main blog. So you could just be talking and you could say, hey, by the way, yeah, if you want more information on that, I wrote a blog post, blah, blah, blah. And you could actually put an annotation over top that section of the video, which links off to that blog post. And you can make these links, by the way, open in a brand new window. So you're not going to take them away from the video while they're in the middle of watching it. Okay, so that's a very important point. Another thing that you could do with these annotations is to link out to another video in a series. So let's say you're running a series of YouTube videos, or you're doing an episode-based thing. Well, you could link to the next installment in that series by actually linking out to that video. One of your types of clickable hotspots on these videos is to go to another video, and you simply paste the URL to that YouTube video in there, and it works beautifully, okay? So you can actually very easily say, let's say you have a part 1 and a part 2. Well, at the end of part 1, you can say, in order to continue this video, click here, give them a clickable hotspot, and it goes right to part 2, and they just continue, okay? That's how that works. Now, very closely related to that is another strategy that you can use, and that is to actually create your own related videos. Now, you've probably seen on YouTube that many times, unless you disable it, that is, that when a video is done playing, YouTube will automatically display a grid of a bunch of videos that they think that you might be interested in, okay? And some of them are going to be yours. Many times, some of them are not going to be yours, okay? Now, with this clickable hotspot thing, you can actually build your own related videos that go after the video is done. Now, the best way to do this that I've seen is to actually use your video editor. So you actually create a couple of thumbnails of videos that they might like that are very closely related, and you embed those screenshots right in the video. So it's literally part of the video file. But then what you do is you make a clickable hotspot over each one of those things that you put there, and you make it clickable to that actual video, okay? So that's a way, it's not even really a cheat. It's just a really effective way to provide related videos, but you're controlling the entire experience, okay? Now, the last one, and this is just super simple, and that is that anytime that you mention any URL in your video, you could make it clickable, okay? You can make it clickable. Now, we've already mentioned that you can send people to your own blog, and this could be used for any blog post that you've already written. You could be talking about your latest blog post, whatever it might be, but you could also send them elsewhere. And the way you can do this is by using a link redirect so that it's still associated with your website, but it can redirect somewhere else, okay? So, for example, let's say that I want to link out to, Optimize Press, which is a landing page solution for WordPress. And let's say I'm doing a video where I'm talking about Optimize Press. Well, I could talk about Optimize Press and I could provide a link to it. And now, obviously, I can't link directly to optimizepress.com because it's not an associated website on my profile. But you could run it through a redirect using a WordPress plugin such as PrettyLink or PrettyLink Lite. And you could do a redirect to Optimize Press, even using your affiliate link for it if you wanted to, and it would still be associated with your website and you'd be able to make it work, okay? So you can use this for any URL that you want to send somebody to from your video. Let's just say you mention it in passing and maybe they're interested in it. You can put a little hotspot just over maybe a 10-second period right at that point where you happen to mention it on the video, okay? Lots of things that you could do here, and let your imagination run raw because it's a really cool tool and it's meant to be used. Now, going back to my original point that there are certain best practices on YouTube, but yet at the same time, it's easier just to upload and go. So it brings us to this mentality of how can we get as close as we can to set it and forget it. How can we get to a point where we don't have to spend the extra time to make these annotations? Unfortunately, there's no automated way that I know of to create these annotations. It is unique to each video. So the way that I do it is that I've actually created a system for my VA to get it done, my virtual assistant. And so when we upload certain videos, she knows how to do the annotations that are necessary at the end of those videos and things like that. So that's how I take care of it. And for my purposes, I want it to be set it and forget it. I don't want to have to mess with all these little YouTube settings. I don't even want to have to worry that much about the title and the descriptions and all that. I just want to upload the video and move on to my next thing. And the way that I do that is by having my VA take care of all of the post-production type stuff on youtube.com specifically, okay? And so if you have a VA, that might be something that you want to look into having them do because it's a real time saver. And quite frankly, you might even want to have them go back in time on your YouTube channel and set some of these things where it makes sense, okay? Because that can actually lead to some more additional traffic from YouTube to your site. Okay, so that's YouTube annotations in a nutshell. Hopefully you got some ideas there on how you could use this. I want to, at the end of this podcast, again, remind you about the big blog monetization webinar that we're doing on a routine basis. And I'd love to invite you to this webinar where we're talking all about blog monetization that works today. Actually, it's worked for a really long time because this is based on real business fundamentals. There is no business fundamental that backs up the idea of building up a site and then throwing ad tags all over it. And so therefore, you're only monetizing that site by sending people away from your site. Here we are in this whole multi-part series having to do with building our traffic here on Coffee Break Blogging. And you do all this work that we're talking about to build traffic to your site, and then your way of monetizing it is to send them somewhere else. How stupid does that sound? Well, it actually is pretty stupid, and that is not the method of monetization that I condone or teach. And I want to show you how exactly I approach it, which is a heck of a lot more effective. It's going to make you a boatload more money than banner ads, and we're going to be talking about that on blogmonetizationwebinar.com. So I'd love to see you on that webinar when we next do it, and I think you'll find it to be valuable. Lastly, if you're finding these episodes valuable, I would highly appreciate it if you jump over into iTunes and post a quick review for me of the show. And you can do that by going to blogmarketingacademy.com/iTunes. And that will jumpstart you right into the iTunes profile for this show. And I would, again, really appreciate those reviews and star ratings. Really helps me get the word out, but I also love knowing how things are going with you guys, my listeners, and anything that I could also improve is useful information for me. So again, that's blogmarketingacademy.com/iTunes. With that being said, thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next time.